talking for 40 minutes. Initially, we thought that the first
But it was a
conversation
pleasure, you know.
uh, would be about 30 to 45 minutes. But before we wrap this up, let's talk a little more about what happened in Syria. And especially, I think you should sort of, from your perspective, how well you know North Caucasus region, which is one of the most turbulent regions in Russia. What kind of impact Syria had, or Russia's loss in Syria had on the region. If you can say anything about that, I think it would be important. I understand this is a dramatic shift of the conversation from Georgia and Trump and demonstrations, but I do believe there is some sort of impact, and everything has a lasting impact on small, turbulent regions and countries, especially something as big as that. So I don't think there is anybody in the world at this point that does not know that Bashar al-Assad's regime has fallen. He escaped to Russia and now is seeking refuge in Russia together with Ukraine's former president, as well as some other leaders, including some from Georgia. And Russia is basically losing its stronghold in the Middle East, which was in Syria, both the naval and air bases there. Russia most likely will have to take its troops out, even though we don't know how many exactly. It could be something from 500 to 2,000. It's unclear. So, and Russia's regions of North Caucasus are very closely monitoring what's happening there because of because of the religious connection, because of some of the ethnic connections. Without getting too much into the details about what was happening during the whole ISIS movement. In Syria and how it was connected to North Caucasus. So, again, a super long question. Apologize to the viewers, but wanted to sort of set the stage for your expertise here. So, the question is, what kind of impact is Russia's loss in Syria is having on North Caucasus at this point?
I think it's not only Russia. I would say there are three factors that disappeared from the Syrian scene altogether. First, it's the regime of Bashar al-Assad. First, second is the Russian influence. Still that the troops and Russian military are remaining there, but some of them already left by airplanes because there was a convoy of airplanes sent from Russia to pick them up and fly home. And what we know already that 3 or 4 vessels are ordered to basically sail from Baltic and the Northern Sea to Syria to pick up all this equipment, military equipment that is left behind in Syria by Russians. And then I think this basis will be closed for good.
Gary, let me just very briefly, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but do we know where they're taking the equipment and the troops?
Yes.
And don't forget your third point.
I will say first the third point. The third point is the disappearance of Iranian factor from the Syrian scene, and for that matter, a breakup of this policy of the Shia crescent running from the Mediterranean. I mean, through starting from let's say Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, Iran, and going down all the way to basically Yemen and Houthis, as we know. So this one was broken, and the whole Middle policy of Iran is basically in ruins at the moment. So going back to your question about where they were taken, there are 3 airfields that I that I actually aware of. One is Chkalovsk, which is basically one of the Moscow airports. I mean, military airport near Moscow. Second is, but all of them are basically in the central part of Russia. I don't remember by heart which ones, but I checked in the map. It was this morning actually. I read about it. Somebody sent it to me, and all of them are in the center of Russia proper. So where these troops will be used, we don't know. But presumably, I think taking into account the need of the professional military in the Russian-Ukrainian front, I think they will be sent there. So there is no other place that I can see them
Hmm.
be deployed. Uh, so these three factors, the disappearance of the three factors that I just mentioned, basically that shapes or might reshape the whole region from the beginning. And there are some reasons for that. Why? Because Russia was basically militarily depleted in Ukraine to a degree that they could not act and they could not basically confront this very quick offensive that was happening a couple of days ago. Uh, Iran and the Iranian proxies like Hezbollah, for example, they were actually depleted by actions of Israel after the October 7th last year, because basically Israel destroyed to a greater degree Hamas and basically uh, beheaded the leadership of Hezbollah for sure, and that's why they were not being able to basically withstand the pressure coming from the opposition in Syria, and basically they withdrew. That created a window of opportunity to the current government that actually substitutes Assad regime in Syria. Now, connection to the Northern Caucasus, there are a number of issues that we have to basically mention as a point uh, because we don't have much time. First, the ethnic issue. Yes, you are right. There are a lot of Northern Caucasian people who are basically for more than a century already were basically deported from the Russian Empire, and they are settled in Syria and some other Middle Eastern countries. So this is a point of concern. The second and very important is, and to understand the security, basically issue that Russia might face in the future, is that a lot of fighters from the Northern Caucasus are they joined the ranks of previously ISIS and then migrated to this new movement that we are now seeing in the government in Syria. So they have families, friends, and people whom they know, and they're worried about them. And the third is that basically the influence of Turkey or the Turkish leader Erdogan in that region, that he is seen as a how can I put it, as a man who is protecting Sunni interest in the Middle East, and
Hmm.
especially that goes to Syria. And we have to understand that the vast majority of the population in the Northern Caucasus are Sunni Muslims. So this is a religious sentiments that these people residing in the Northern Caucasus they have people to people connection, as well as they have people who are fighting for the current government or against Assad regime, and effectively against Russians as well for many years. So this is kind of a situation in the Caucasus, in the Northern Caucasus, and they are watching the situation very closely. We know about it.
Hmm. Have you seen anything about the Kremlin's reaction to it? There were some reports that maybe the internet was out and
There was some problems with internet in Dagestan, Chechnya, and Ingushetia. These are basically the three republics in the Northern Caucasus that can make troubles to the central government, and most rebellious people are living in that territories. 2 or 3 days, the internet was totally out. Some people say that they didn't want to spread the information what is going on in Syria, just to calm down people and just control the potential protests, or some sort of expression of what is going on there. Second was that basically they shut up internet just because there were some information about threat of Ukrainian drones to bomb certain bases in the northern Caucasus,
Okay.
um, or just just to keep people out of information of what is going on, not only in Syria or drone attack, but also what is going on in Georgia, because the we should not underestimate events in Georgia and what kind of impact these events can have for the people in the northern Caucasus, with whom we have actually, you know, thousands of years of ties, cultural and others, and they're very much basically, supportive of, democratization processes in Georgia, and we know about it as well.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very insightful of you. Thank you very much for that. And that's very important as well, that, as you rightly said, Georgian and North Caucasus, initially the independence movements that we saw at the breakup of the Soviet Union, or even before that, long before that, they sort of developed in a parallel way. And then Russia's wars in Chechnya basically destroyed some of those movements, and actually destroyed, um, I don't know, we'll say temporarily or for good. So, a very, very important point. I have not thought about that, to be honest. The impact of Georgia's events on North
Uh,
Caucasus, which may be actually more tangible for the region than the events in Syria.
what is interesting, I just want to add to this, that a couple of days ago, the Council of the Association of the Northern Caucasian People, which actually, the membership of all of the republics of the northern, they made a statement, and they sent the statement to President Zurabishvili, expressing their willingness, if there will be a need, to fight for Georgia.
Oof.
Well, I don't think that we need that, but I'm very grateful to hear this,
Mhm.
and
Very
I'm very
interesting.
pleased.
Well, that
Yeah,
indicates a level of support. Yeah, for sure. I hope it does not come to that ever. God forbid. Yeah.
exactly, exactly. That's what I said.
Yeah.